we're looking at the Broncos versus the Saints here in a battle of the rookie quarterbacks. We now have Rattler and Bo Nix. Bo Nix obviously has a number of games ahead here of Bo Nix, or of Rattler, but Rattler coming in here. Our model shows a ton of value. We're going to break it down on what that number exactly points out. But Steve, I want to start with some of your thoughts here on what you make of this game. What are some trends that we should be following?
Yeah. So first and foremost, let's hop into it. Broncos versus Saints. So this opened up at Saints -1.5. It's completely flipped over to Broncos -2.5. Broncos 4-2 against the spread overall, 3-0 against the spread as an away team. Saints are 3-3 against the spread overall, 1-2 against the spread at home. Now, one of the big reasons I believe this line has moved so dramatically in Broncos' favor is not just because of Bo Nix is the wonder boy here, but you've got a concerning slew of injuries for the Saints. Now, obviously, we talked about Derek Carr last week. Going into this week, that oblique still did not practice. You've got Rashid Shaheed concerning the injury. I'm not sure what's going to be his season, but he's for sure going to be out. Then you got Chris Olave, who's suffering a concussion. Shout out to Sportsmet Analytics. Looking like he's probably not going to be back for week 7 as well. And then don't forget, you got Cesar Ruiz, right guard, out with an injury, as well as your will linebacker in Pete Werner. So a lot of injuries for the Saints coming in there. So this one's pretty concerning to me. So I definitely can see, we've seen the Broncos kind of beat up on some of these teams, i.e. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who we thought were really good, and we were on the wrong side of that. So this one is just a war of attrition kind of game for me. But let me know, is this something that we should be concerned about from the data standpoint? Or are the Saints really just not as good of a team anymore? Is the hype dead?
Yeah, well, it's an interesting question. I mean, you've highlighted a lot of the injury concerns, and there are a lot. And quite frankly, on both sides, though, the one thing I will point out here is Denver is got a lot of questions on cornerback. I think 4 of their cornerbacks, including their best in Patrick Surtain, are questionable or did not practice. So, I would point that out. But the data show a bit of an interesting, I don't want to say mixed review. Denver, I don't think anybody's thinking of them as world beaters offensively. This is a team that is 25th against passing the ball and 21st running the ball. Now, New Orleans, a little bit better offensively. We're talking about the 20th passing offense and the 10th rushing offense. The one thing I do want to point out here is both these defenses are really good. New Orleans 5th against the pass, 27th against the rush. Denver 2nd against the pass, 9th against the rush. So I think we're going to get a lot of defense for both these teams. The one thing I do want to point out about the injury angle and why I'm not super freaking out. Now, it sucks that we have a 1.5 when now you can get 2.5s. Minus 1.5 is what we have. You can get plus 2.5s in the market. But I want to point out this interesting stat here for you. The Saints are a run-first team, and we're looking at a team that runs the ball 7% more than an average team. So I'm not – obviously, you want to have your weapons like Chris Olave, and you want to have these weapons. But quite frankly, if Kamara and Taysom Hill are going to be goes for this game, I'm not sure that I'm freaking out as much. I also hinted to it. Yes, New Orleans is going to be down a lot of their key guys at wide receiver. But again, Denver potentially is going to be down 4 guys at corner. Is this the get right game or the coming out party for Spencer Rattler? Because he's going to be able to throw to these guys because he's going to go up against, second tier corners and safety. So it's gross as hell. I think there's a ton of variance here. You're betting on 2 rookie quarterbacks. Quite frankly, you don't know what the hell you're buying. I would much more like the spot if we were getting Derek Carr and obviously a healthy offense from the New Orleans, because I think that's what will set us up for getting the most kind of firepower. But we are kind of where we are. Obviously, a 2.5 is what I'd prefer to get now, but that's not what we have. I think, what did we end up giving out? I think we end up giving out ones.
We got a 1 at a -1 at plus 100.
Yeah, -1 at plus 100. So yeah, negative CLV as of now. But again, I want to zoom in on that angle. Don't let, can this be a bloodbath? 100%. Denver can beat up on New Orleans if they can't run the ball. But there are still a lot of questions for Denver. Don't forget about those questions, 1. And then 2, New Orleans is a run-first team. If you have Kamara, you have Taysom, they might have the pieces to put a lot of what their offense is on the field. And then with those corners down for Denver, it isn't just a slam dunk here that, it's just going to be lopsided Denver. So just don't follow the hype if this goes through the 3 and it just seems like it could be, Denver all day. Now it could be, but there are some spots here New Orleans can highlight. And this is the Sean Payton return tour. Like, I don't know.
Right.
plays into, I guess, the Denver side. I don't really know. Do you think there's something there? They didn't leave on bad blood. He left. He's like, I'm done.
Right, right. Then they came back. Yeah, I don't know. I do want to say two things real quick. First and foremost, Street and Paula, you are not wrong. We are doing this live. We're switching up a little bit. So shout out to you. Shout out to the chat. Guys, feel free to put your comments in. We want to hear you chime in all episode. We're trying a new thing here. This will post again on Thursday at noon Eastern. So you are definitely getting a huge sneak peek. And Jeremy, I do agree. Saying if Patrick Stan is out, it's a complete game changer. Seth, to your point here, I think as it grows to this bet feels, right? You obviously want to get the best number, right? So we were a -1, could have got a +2.5 because of the news here. But what gives me hope is, like you mentioned, we talk about New Orleans offense, and they're a great passing team. But this season so far, they still are a very great running team. And you kind of highlighted this. And so, yes, you have questions with Spencer Rattler, and he hasn't looked great so far. But don't forget, New Orleans this season, as far as EPA per play goes, on a rush, they are ranked 5th. So there is a game plan here for them to go through. And Denver, looking at just this sort of a 6-game sample size, is right in the middle of a pack. So it's not like not like they're really adept at stopping the run. So New Orleans can absolutely lean into this. And I wonder if that's enough of a reset, because we've seen this New Orleans offense, quite frankly, take a huge step back in the last couple of games. So honestly, a game plan change might be what the doctor ordered for them. So I'm with you. I'm not necessarily ringing the alarm bells. I think it's important for people to know if they're going to bet into this game, understand why the line is moving, understand what you're kind of getting into. But there absolutely is a key to success here. Make no mistake about it for New Orleans here.
Yeah, this isn't in 2020 where it was this exact matchup and Denver literally didn't have a quarterback, and this got to 14 and the market was freaking out. This is not that. Now, obviously there are concerns, huge concerns for what you're going to get at a number of positions there for the Saints. But again, I want to highlight there are still a lot of concerns on what you're going to get from Denver defensively. And you talked about the Tampa Bay game. There was a number of key defensive linemen out for Tampa Bay. And to me, that was what won, Denver the game. They weren't able to get pressure. And this Denver team and Bo Nix, who hasn't been that successful, was able to move the ball. I'm not sure we're not talking about any defensive players being out for New Orleans. And they were good last year. They're good this year. Now they have regressed a bit, but we're still talking about a 5th overall pass defense here. And what we saw Bo Nix struggle a lot against this Chargers team last week. And so I think that I'm not super uncomfortable where we're at with it. Obviously, you don't like the negative CLV, but yeah, I'm with you. There's a pathway to success. So let us know what you think. Do you think that we got this one wrong? Do you think we got this one right? This is obviously a model play for us on the New Orleans Saints -1. All right, we're headed.
Yeah. Can I say one last thing before we move on?
Of course.
Just kind of put back, because I know we have a very small sample size with both the quarterbacks, even more small with Spencer Rattler, but just to sprinkle some objectivity for the folks out there. The PFF grades, right? We talk about how these quarterbacks rank. So Bo Nix is currently ranked 29th out of all quarterbacks. So kind of put that into perspective with an offensive score of 60.5. Spencer Rattler coming in at 64.8. So we talk about this idea of, backup quarterbacks and what's going to be a huge drop off or not. But Spencer Rattler compared to Bo Nix may not be the drop off you think. Like, yeah, Spencer Rattler to Derek Carr, sure. But you're rookie against rookie, quite frankly, anything can happen. I mean, for our model, let's pull the curtain back a little bit. They're the same person, right? Like we put them all in the rookie bucket, so to speak. And I don't want to over exaggerate, but meaning that, let's not overread into this. It's still rookie on rookie action with a team that's built to be more than just a passing team.
Yeah, and we have exactly that. And one thing I want to point out here. So we use it's a complex methodology, so we don't got to get into the weeds here. But we do put into individual EPA per play, sack rate for each quarterback. So we are using their sack rates. Obviously, Rattler has 1 game worth of sack rate, and Bo Nix has a couple of games worth of sack rate. But yeah, they're actually quite similar, almost identical in the game, the small sample that we have. So yeah, this is we're getting the same level of play at quarterback, in my opinion. I agree with you on that.